And here he is. He's now on camera. I've had to plug my phone in again because, as per usual, I've forgotten to charge it up, so it's actually plugged into the mains down here. And also, check this out. I oiled the microphone stand. So for those on the audio experience, you're not going to see this, but basically, the microphone is too oiled up, so it just like falls down now. So I'm going to have to kind of like arrange it somehow. Stay there. There you go. I think that'll probably be all right. But yeah, there you go. There's a moral of the story. I've got some WD-40 out because it was squeaking. All it's done really is just make the microphone fall down a bit further. So thank you for those who are watching on the replay. Massively appreciate you. You won't have heard any of the chat we've just had in the little holding area before we started properly. Those on the audio experience, massively appreciate you listening as well on iTunes or on Stitcher.com. So thank you for being here. I hope you're having an incredible day, whatever you are doing right now. And tonight, for those who are live, okay, we're going to be talking all about excuses, okay? Excuses that actors and just people in general are using right now, every single day. I mean, every single day, for either not getting on with what they want to achieve, not starting something that they want to achieve, not sticking with something they want to achieve. And I caught myself today, right? The one thing I want to like say to everybody, okay, I know I do these scopes. This microphone's falling down again. Do these scopes all the time, and you guys are probably like, oh, Ross just has it all figured out or whatever. Some people say it to me all the time. Oh, but the ticket man on the train this morning accused me of being too positive for a Monday morning. And I'm like, I haven't got it all figured out, right? One, I choose to try and see the good in everything. Okay, that's a choice. Okay, I wasn't born like this. And the other thing is, I'm really fallible as well. So some of the things that I kind of try and coach people on, I'm completely at the mercy of those things as well. So occasionally things crop up. And today, I caught myself making an excuse, and it was all because of fear. Absolutely, without a doubt. And we did a scope on Monday all about fear, okay? And the excuse for me was about risk and fear of a return on an investment. So I'll tell you about it. It's nothing to do with acting. Might be a bit boring, but I'll quickly recap. Basically, there's an event going on in London in May that I want to attend. It's for people who run online businesses, so like actsonthis.tv. I want to build that brand. Like, seriously, guys, I want to build actsonthis.tv into one of the biggest brands in the world for actors, one of the biggest websites that's going to help actors actually achieve what they want, okay? And that's going to take a shit ton of work. It's going to be like literally something I probably work on every single day for the next 10, 15 years of my life in order to get it to that place. Now, there's a bit of a hero of mine in the internet marketing space and the business building space who's going to be speaking at a conference in London on the 5th of May. Tickets are over £1,000. And I was like, right, I really want to go to that event. And then the minute I'm like, about to purchase the ticket, that doubt kicks in. The doubt just kicks in, and I'm like, right, am I going to get a return on this investment? Okay, and I think that's happened to us all. If you're an actor, that might be when you're about to pay for a workshop, when you're about to pay. I run I must say, an amazing course for actors called Bulletproof Actor, and it's all to do. It's called Unstoppable Confidence, Infinite Success, and it's all to do with mental game, positive psychology. So science-backed positive psychology. It's a 5-week in-depth course that takes people literally through a science-backed process, super in-depth, that will change their life. I still get emails from people today telling me about success they have in their career, in their life, from people who went on that program last January. Genuinely, if people commit to it, it transforms their life. Now, it's 279 quid. And I get loads of emails beforehand from people going, I don't know if I can justify this, I don't know if I can afford it. And what I tell them, and what I had to tell myself this morning, is if you are questioning whether you're going to get an ROI, a return on your investment, before you're going into that program, it's generally not the right time for you to go into that program because you're looking at it all wrong, okay? You should be actually focusing on not whether you can afford it or not, about, ultimately, can you afford not to do it? What are you going to gain by going on that program? And on Bulletproof Actor, effectively, if you're 20 years old and you can seriously develop a bulletproof mindset for the acting industry in life, you're going to have 70 years, probably, of better life, more success, better experiences for 279 quid. You're basically going to set yourself up for at least to understand the principles, even if you don't stick with it, understand the principles in order to live a better life forever. And this conference this morning, I was like, right, for me to go there and spend this £1,000, if I pick up tactics, strategies, things that are going on online right now in the social media world and in terms of online marketing and growing a brand, then I only need to pick up one tip that could easily make me £1,000 back in my online business. So for me to go, oh, am I going to get a return on investment? I'm effectively betting against myself. So if you're ever like, should I put 50 quid down on this workshop that I know is with a great casting director, but I'm like, can I afford it? Can I not afford it? Don't look at what it's actually costing you monetarily. Look at what it would cost you if you didn't do it. If you don't do it, well, you don't get to see that casting director. You don't get to understand their work. You don't get to make that relationship, touch base with that person, cultivate your network, which ultimately the entire acting industry and life is about. It's all about relationships. Your entire life and the quality of your life is all about relationships. So look at what you are going to miss out on effectively if you don't commit to it. And that's what I had to do, and then I taught myself into it. And actually, a friend of mine as well, and we're both doing it. So yeah, all's well that ends well. But it just made me think, God, like I hear a lot of excuses from actors, and sometimes I will see those excuses crop up in my own life. Luckily, I kind of catch them and deal with them. But I thought, let's look at 5 bullshit excuses tonight that I think so many actors are making right now, and you can tell me honestly whether you're making these excuses in your career as well. Good evening. James is here as well. Good evening, James. Thanks for joining us, mate. Just in time. So I'm going to throw these slides up on the screen. And yeah, let's have a little look at these. And just be honest with me when we're going through these excuses. How many you're making? You know what? I've only chosen 5. I could have easily chosen 10 or 15 different excuses. These are just 5 of the most common ones, okay, and the reasons why I think they're so common. If you've not shared this scope, really would appreciate you sharing it, guys. I know a few people have. Jennifer Hannah's here. Good evening, Jen. You just click on the dots at the bottom of the screen where that arrow's pointing to. There you click share, and then you can select Facebook or Twitter. Get it out. Cheers, James. Appreciate that, mate. James has just shared it. I'll leave that slide up for 10 more seconds just so people can share, because this applies again. Everything we do on these scopes applies to everybody. It doesn't have to be actors. Ultimately, just anybody. Jen says she's sorry she's late. She's been out for a run. Jen, that's a great excuse to be late. That's awesome. I did my run yesterday. I enjoy a little half marathon on a Sunday. Lucy's here as well. Thank you for inviting your followers, Hannah. Cheers, Carolina, as well. Really appreciate that. So yeah, so here you go, guys. Start off with this slide. I say, why don't you live the life you want? Okay, and I think we're all living the life we kind of want to live. I include myself in this. I'm definitely living at a higher level than I have ever lived before. I constantly strive for improvement every single day, and I feel that I'm going in that direction. But there's definitely still hurdles in my life, and fear occasionally creeps in. Excuses will creep in. Like I said today, it showed its head today, and they stop us from living the life that we truly want. And it's because ultimately we are full, if we're not careful, of bullshit excuses. And these are excuses that stop us from moving towards our goals. Okay, and successful people don't have excuses for giving up and why they gave up or why they couldn't do that. They only have reasons to succeed. Okay, so they're the reasons for why not. Instead of saying why should I do that, what if this happens, well, what if things do work out, look at that. They don't sit desperately and curse their poor and sad existence. Okay, I only hear losers, people with losing DNA, sit there and just basically curse their life. And we've said this on so many scopes before, that if you are born in a developed country in 2017, you are alive, and if you are watching this now because you have internet access, if you're watching it, you probably have a smartphone if you're watching it, you shouldn't have any excuses for why you are not following your dreams, because there's people literally with nothing who are going for what they want in the world, and there will be, and this applies to all of us, people who were born before us, who have achieved more than us in far less time than us, okay? That applies to all of us, so you've got to keep that in mind. Here are then the most common excuses for giving up, okay? And we're going to talk about ways to destroy these excuses tonight, all right? So I'm going to start with excuse number 1 that I hear all the time from nearly, at least half a dozen, 10, 12 people a week who email me for advice on something to do with acting or just their career, okay? And that is this is the excuse. I don't want to risk it. And this is what came up for me today. I don't want to risk it. Okay, when that might be anything. That could be money. That could be, making a phone call to someone, getting on the plane to go for a meeting because you're shit scared of traveling or something like that. And I've put on the slide here, you risk something. This is the reality. This is legit, guys. You risk something every time you go to sleep. Literally, tonight, when you close your eyes and go to sleep, you risk something that you might not wake up. That is the reality of it, okay? Do you then not sleep because of this possibility? Well, no, because actually that's impossible. But think about that. Last night you took a risk. The night before you took a risk. And every day you've been on this planet, you took a risk by closing your eyes and going to sleep at night, okay? That is the risk we all take, okay? It's absolutely legit. I mean, that's just factual, okay? So next time you are contemplating risk, and as I said there, it's either investing money in your acting career, making that call to someone. It might be a risk of embarrassment if you say something wrong, asking that boy out, asking that girl out, getting on that plane, traveling somewhere. Just ask yourself this: would I take this risk if I knew I would not wake up tomorrow morning? And the answer to that is probably every single time, yes, unless it would end in imminent death, I imagine, because if you knew you weren't going to wake up tomorrow morning, you still had 12 hours to live, you probably wouldn't, risk something that would end in absolute imminent death, okay? But, seriously, what do you honestly, give me some, comments now, what do you actually have to lose in life, really, except money sometimes, embarrassment, a bit of pride? You don't really have that much to lose by asking the world for what you want, whether that's calling an agent, calling a casting director, making a short film, writing a script, going after what you want. I'm not saying risk, fly out to Syria and try and fix the conflict here. There's a lot at risk there, okay? Let's have a look. Who said that? It said, my family's security. Well, what you need to do there is you need to calculate the risk and do it in a responsible way, okay? There will still be lots of things you're probably holding back on, and unfortunately, you're using your family as an excuse. Because just think on what your family is missing out on if you went for it and actually became mega successful. You're risking your family then not having the life that you could give them if you actually strive for what you wanted and achieved it. You're only looking at what you're going to do to your family if you fail. And by default, you are going to fail if that is what you are focusing on. Okay, so from a scientific perspective, we know it engages a part of your brain called your reticular activating system, and generally what you focus on, you will see more of. Literally, it's the filter in your brain on a scientific level. If you focus on all of the risk, that's all you're going to see, and then you are going to step back from that situation because you're going to frighten yourself to death. When you focus on the opportunity and what might happen when it all goes right, and you visualize that, and you actually put the hustle in, because this all requires work, guys, you're going to see more opportunity, and you're then, by default, you're going to see more success. So you've almost got to go, well, you know what am I doing to my family if I don't go for this? Not what is it going to cost me if I lose, what is it going to cost me if I don't go for it and I was always destined to win? And then you've just got to go for it. And obviously don't sell your house and end up on the street. So you're like, right, I've thrown it all in, and if this doesn't work, then we're all completely screwed. There are ways to do it responsibly. But there's still a lot of people who are using their excuse of security, their family. I did it when I worked in retail for 11 years, and I had a bit of stability on a 14 grand a year job. Hating my life, though. Totally hating my life. I went, this is security, and I need to pay the rent, and I need to food, and I need to buy clothes, and I need to live. Actually, I was just completely mugging myself off. Because within a year, it took 11 years to get the courage up, but within a year of doing that, I was earning 4 times what I was earning there for literally, at least half the hours that I was working. But it just took a shitload of courage. But that was all. That literally was all. And as soon as I had jumped and committed to that leap and to committed to that change, everything worked out. So I'd actually been mugging myself off for a decade by focusing on what was going to happen if I didn't succeed, as opposed to what I was, I could achieve if I did succeed. So just have a think of that. Ask yourself, would I take this risk if I knew I would not wake up tomorrow morning? And generally, every single time you're going to go, yeah. And like I say, if it doesn't involve imminent death, if it's literally just, a little bit of money, embarrassment, pride, getting uncomfortable, then take the risk, because you literally have nothing to lose at all. So that's excuse number 1. I don't want to risk it. And I made this excuse this morning. I don't want to risk this £1,000 for a ticket to this event Because what? Basically, what I was doing is walking, like I said, I was walking into the bookies and putting £100 down on me losing. That's what I was doing by even contemplating that, as opposed to being my biggest fan and betting on myself. You get nowhere, guys, if you're betting against yourself. And by saying, I'm just risking my family's future here, is betting against yourself. Because you're basically saying from the offset, I'm going to lose and my family are gonna be deprived, as opposed to, I'm going to make sure this works and I'm going to provide for my family like I never dreamt I could. That's the difference between winning and losing DNA. Let's develop the winning DNA in all of us, guys. So that's excuse number 1. Excuse number 2, again, another common one. One of the most common excuses. I don't have enough time. Who said this in the last month? Who said it? I bet loads of people in here. Patrick, good evening. Thank you for sharing, Nat. Who said this? Give me some hearts if you said I don't have enough time. Don't have enough time to commit to that. Don't have enough time to focus on that. Can't do that. It's one of the most common excuses just around, okay? And people need to be super... Tony says it's the worst excuse. People need to be super honest with me. Be honest with me right now. Please don't hide anything, right? This last weekend, Tony, it doesn't apply to you because you're in Chicago. Don't know what the weather was like. But in the UK, it was beautiful. Last weekend was gorgeous, okay? How much time did you guys dedicate to your goals? I've made a typo there, but how much time did you dedicate to your goals? Okay, was it 1 hour? Was it 2 hours? Was it 6 hours? Was it 9 hours? Was it 12 hours a day? Or was it a big fat 0? Because I know for most of my friends, and I'm not saying this to go, look at me, I'm amazing, right? Most of my friends were posting pictures all day on Facebook and Instagram of sitting in beer gardens, drinking, which is fine because I'm all for, relaxation. But that's absolutely fine as long as you're not fucking complaining. They're also the same friends who, when I sit down for coffee with, they're like, oh my God, I'm so miserable in my life. Yeah, because you are not committing time to the things that matter. No wonder you don't have enough time to do the things that matter, because you're spending so much time on the shit that doesn't matter. So actors need to realise, and people in general need to realise this, okay? And this comes from a mentor of mine, a guy called Gary. He says, listen, you need to eat shit for 3 to 5 years so that you can eat caviar for the rest of your life. All right? And that's what I'm doing. I spent 13 hours on Saturday editing video footage of an interview that I did on the Thursday night. And I was looking out my window, and it was beautiful sunshine outside. But bar an hour in the morning for breakfast and a walk home, I spent the rest of the day editing. And that isn't because I'm like, oh, this is amazing, look at me. It's because I know I've got to eat shit. If I want to build this brand into the biggest brand on the planet, one of the biggest websites in the world for actors, I've got to eat that shit for 3 to 5 years. And on the days where everyone's playing out drinking, I've got to sit here because right now, I don't have an abundance of cash to employ someone else to sit here. And you've got to realize, that's the same in your life. What are you doing, when it comes to time? If you don't have the time to write those letters, to film those scenes, to write those emails, to make those phone calls, to promote yourself and build a personal brand online, which is something that I think is massive, massive, massive. I'm going to do so much work with you guys on personal brand building. I think 2017, and people have said this, like many, Caroline wants me to say eat poop, not eat shit. So eat poop then for 3 to 5 years. I think a lot of people have used the term personal branding over the years without really understanding it. I think 2017 is like going to be absolutely the year of the personal brand and of what I would class as micro influencers within various spheres and industries online, due to really the evolution of social media, how things like Instagram. I'm so big on Instagram, guys. If you're an actor and you're not on Instagram yet, again, you're mugging yourself right off, because you're going to be in 2 years' time, you're going to be so late to the party. Get on there right now. And it's been amazing seeing, there's a lot of names on here tonight, and I watch your Instagram stories every single day. You documenting what you're doing in your life, in your acting career, and it's so interesting. And I guarantee if I'm finding it interesting, there's a shitload of other people out there who are going to find it interesting. And you really will build a social media presence that will open doors for you as, not just as actors either, as personalities, as entertainers. And you can go into other spheres in the media in terms of presenting, acting, writing. Some people on here are amazing comedians. in their ordinary life. Massive shout out to Mike. He's just so funny. He just documents himself at work. He works nights, I think, in a hotel. He's hilarious. Fanny's whole getting fit in 12 weeks thing is really funny to watch because she's been hating it quite a lot of the time. But Fanny, congrats for sticking with it. It's really, really good that you've stuck with it. And you're reaching the part in positive psychology where we call like the biggest resistance when it comes to something called habit gravity. So guys, when you try to create a positive habit, particularly fitness, generally takes 30 days. Normally around day 21 to 25 is the hardest time to keep up with your new habit. I promise you, if you stick to day 28, 29, 30, Fanny, you reach a part called escape velocity, and you will actually like really start enjoying what you are doing, and you'll start enjoying and missing this new positive habit when you don't do it. So please stick with it. You're right near the point where you're about to escape from all of that resistance, so stay with it. So ultimately, guys, time management. Don't give me that excuse that you don't have enough time. Look at what you are spending your time on and simply adjust, okay? So many people, like I said, on Saturday and Sunday will have been sat in beer gardens. Today, they will be complaining they've got nowhere in their acting career. And I'm like, yeah, because you've just wasted 48 whole hours getting drunk or topping up your tan. You don't need to top up your tan when, I want to look good. For who? Because no one's watching you, particularly in your acting career. No one's even looking at you because you ain't working. You're not working hard enough. Top up your tan when you're going to be on TV a lot and people are like, yeah, right, you want to look your best. No one's looking at you. Just forget it. Go and work. Harsh, but true, guys, I reckon. So that's point number 2. Okay, I don't have enough time. Excuse number 3, I hear so much of these 5 most common ones, is I don't know enough about the business. So many people are like, yeah, but I don't know about that. Oh, I just don't understand it. The amount of people who have been like part of the Facebook group or members of, of various acting groups here, there and everywhere, for years, and they still email me and they haven't got a clue about how the industry really works. So I'm like, oh my God, how do you not know? You're a member of all these groups. What are you doing? You're clearly not using them or getting involved in them or reading the incredible knowledge that's shared on these groups every single day. If you're part of the Act on This Facebook group, we share so much in there. You can learn literally exactly up to the minute what's going on in the acting industry, the TV industry, what's been commissioned, who's casting what. By just spending like 3 hours in the Facebook group going through the posts, you would learn it all. Probably not even that, probably like an hour, okay? So when people say I don't know enough about the business, I'm like, of course you don't. Because you're not immersing yourself in it, okay? You're not investing anything into learning about the business because of excuses 1 and 2. So to recap, excuses 1 and 2, I don't have enough time and I don't want to risk it. So the reason you know nothing about the industry is because you're risking nothing and you don't think you've got enough time to learn anything, okay? So, of course, you are never going to know anything about the business. You won't know which casting directors cast what. You will not know where these casting directors are in the country. You will not know where you find them on social media. You won't know anybody's email address. You won't know just jack shit. And you're like, you know what, if you're telling me you really want to be an actor and you really like, it's the only thing that you're destined to do, it's the only thing you can do, then you are losing, and again, you're displaying that losing DNA by not learning this stuff, okay? And this isn't a sales thing for Acts on This, but Acts on This is just one example of how you can access literally the industry's inner circle for a tiny investment. Guys, I charge £2.50 a week, and then you get access to over 150 hours of one-to-one interviews with literally the biggest casting directors in the business. These aren't plastic casting directors who set up workshops and charge you 60 quid. Who aren't casting anything. These are the biggest casting directors in the country. The people who cast the Broadchurches, the Downton Abbeys, the Doctor Who's. The biggest names. And people are still like, oh, I can't afford £2.50 a week. Well, I'm like, you're a loser then. Because I promise you, if there was I said this before, if there was like a £10 a month tax on oxygen that the government just put in, you'd complain about it, but you'd find it. Okay? You would find that £10 a month. So if you are saying you don't have £10 a month to invest in your acting career, seriously, please choose something else. Choose, and I'm not one to normally tell people that, but if you won't invest 10 quid a month, not even a week, into your acting career, go and choose something else. Go and do something else, because I promise you, it's just, you will waste your life. You're going to waste so many years because you're not committed at all. You're really not committed. I just told you I'm going to spend £1,000 on a ticket to an event. to watch one guy do a 45-minute speech, but I feel I'm going to get a return on that investment. I lose patience with dibs and losers, says Caroline. We're all getting a bit harsh but true tonight, aren't we? This is just real talk, guys. There's only so much pandering I can do to people to build them up and go, oh no, but you're amazing, you're going to be great. I'm like, you know what? Actually, sometimes people just show me losing, just losing attributes. It doesn't mean you can't spin them around and develop winning attributes, but sometimes, like, I don't know, people just don't seem to get it. And they, I guarantee you're spending more than £2.50 a week on a Starbucks or something like that. I've had to deal with one today, says Caroline. She's had to deal with a couple. It's just like, what's important to you? Your Netflix subscription for, how much is that? £7 or £8 a month? Or knowledge that could change your career? Workshops that could change your career? People are like, oh, I don't want to get on Spotlight because I think it's a rip-off. Well, unfortunately, it's just like, a necessary evil, if that's where you want to look at it. Although it's not evil, it absolutely gives your agent all of the tools they need to push you forward for work. If you're not on it, or you're not striving to be on it, you're missing out on a massive, massive element of the industry that everybody should just be on. If you're not a member of Equity and supporting your actors union, and yet you are taking equity-packed contracts, then you're just taking there. You're not supporting it. And it's such a reasonable subscription, Equity, and it gives you so much. Equity, for like, when you're only on the lowest like rung of earnings, I think it's only like £7 or £8 a month, and you get £10 million worth of indemnity insurance on that, of public liability insurance. If you're like filming a short film out in public and someone falls over your tripod, you've got £10 million worth of insurance for £7 a month. You get a pension. Whereas if you pay into your pension, Equity will pay in the same amount. So you do a job on Hollyoaks and you go, right, I'm going to pay £45 of my fee into my pension. Equity go, here's another £45 for free. And yet people won't pay £7 a month for it. I don't know if they get it. I just don't know if they understand. £10 per month, don't even notice it, says Catherine. And it isn't a stab at people who are not earning money, and I understand as an actor it's difficult. I used to work for £5.75 an hour for 11 years. I understand what it's like to work for literally minimum wage, but there was money that I was just throwing away. I could have been making my own sandwiches when I was going to work, but I was going to Boots and spending £6 on a meal deal. That £6 could have probably been back then my equity fees. Carolina didn't know about the pension thing. Yeah, equity pensions, like, seriously, guys, if it's someone who's self-employed, it's important to have a pension. Equity give you that. You can then also become a member of BECS, which is the British Equity Collecting Society, who, on your behalf for free, will go out there, and if you've ever done any television work, they will actually, if it's not been a specific contract that is paid to your agent, royalty fees sometimes don't get picked up on. BECS go out and find all those royalty fees for you and just send you them for free. So they will send me statements a couple of times a year, not for fortunes, but a couple of £100 each time. And they just send it me for free. A guy got in touch with me a couple of years ago and went, I've got £90 here for you. Where do you want it sending to? I'm like, that's amazing. There's people out there. If you support your union, you get so much back. There's just loads of stuff out there. If you are prepared to invest a small amount of money, you get like so much back. When you invest in yourself. So that was excuse number 3. Okay, what is BECS? Says Fanny. So BECS, is BECS. You can see Steve's put it there. If you go onto the actonthis.tv, open up the menu and just type into the search bar BECS, you'll see an article, BECS. You'll see an article that I wrote, and I've even included one of my statements from BECS on there. It's from 2012. I wrote it years ago, but it's still applicable to today. You should all sign up for BECS, and you should all be supporting your union and be a member of Equity. You really should. If you're going to take those contracts when you work in TV, you really should be supporting the people who actually fought to have those contracts and fought for minimum equity rates. Just my opinion, but I think we're stronger together. You should support that. So excuse number 3: I don't have enough. I don't know enough about the business. Just learn. And you know what? I'm going to give you a website now, guys. That's going to help you learn about everything you could possibly want to know about anything. If you get a pen and paper out now, just so you can write this down. Have you got a pad? Just let me know when you've got a pad. I'm going to give you an awesome website, and you can learn literally anything you want in the world from this website. Got one, says Fanny. Okay, Fanny, yeah, it's spelled GOOGLE.com. Because I swear, guys, people are like, I don't understand how to do this. You just type it in to Google, all right? And it will tell you every single thing you could possibly want to know. If you're like, as an actor, I don't know how to promote myself on Instagram. How don't you just type in how to promote myself on Instagram into Google? You know, how to use Facebook ads to spread, you know, my brand. Type it into Google. You know, how to join Spotlight. Type it into Google. How to become a member of Equity. Google. All right, everyone's just started to get it, and so Catherine started writing it. That's amazing. But yeah, seriously, some people will ring me up and go, Ross, I don't know how to do this. How do you do it? And I won't know. But I go, give me 2 seconds, and literally while they're on the phone, I'll Google it, and I'll be able to talk them through fixing something if it's a technical problem, because Google will tell me. There's literally the world's knowledge is on Google. All right, so don't tell me you don't know enough about anything. Just learn. I didn't know how to do a Periscope 18 months ago. Just Googled it. I didn't know how to transmit slides and video footage like I'm doing tonight. I just Googled it. All right, I wasn't born with this knowledge, so just Google. But yeah, actonthis.tv. Seriously, guys, so much information on there. A lot of the stuff I've spoken about tonight, like Bex, I bet you guys didn't know was on there. You know, Equity. I've done podcasts with the president of Equity, Malcolm Sinclair. Go and listen to it. You'll learn all about pensions, all about how equity works. Please, I'm putting so much content on there. It's like you can, you know, it's that whole thing, isn't it? You can take a horse to water, can't make it drink. I can only do so much for you guys. I can only bring these names to you. You've got to, ultimately, well, you've got to do nothing really than sit there and just press play. I'm just asking you to sit there, press play, and just listen or watch. Very, very, you know, easy. The serious, difficult work has been done for you. Excuse number 4. There are no opportunities for me. Oh, I hear this all the time. Particularly from actors later to the game. Slightly older actors are like, there's just no opportunities for me. I'm too old. Shouldn't have started. You know, they should have started this way earlier. That kind of thing. If you've used that excuse again, it's a limiting belief and it's bullshit. Okay, opportunities I've put here are everywhere. You can't see them because you don't believe that they exist. All right, this goes back to what I said before when someone said they didn't want to risk their family on the acting industry. Well, the thing is, you don't see the possibilities out there because you don't believe they exist. You only believe the risk exists and the rewards don't exist in your head. Yep, that's me, says Dawn. If you want to succeed, guys, you've got to look how many opportunities are waiting for you to grab, and there are shitloads of them. The reason that I write about every single commission that I can find in the TV industry is to show you guys and prove to you guys that it's never quiet. Too many people use that excuse to make themselves feel better about their career, and they use it to other actors who agree with them, and they go, yeah, I've not had an audition in 6 months either, but it's quiet, isn't it? No. Honest to God, it isn't quiet. There's not a week goes by where a TV show does not get greenlit. It's never quiet. It's only quiet because you are not focusing on the opportunities. You are focusing on how quiet it is for you, and thus presuming it's quiet for everybody. It just isn't, okay? So when you are open to new opportunities, you see them, or even better, you create your own. I try and do this every single week. The whole reason I kind of do these periscopes, I do the interviews that I do on Acts on This, I do the podcasts, you know, I try and, you know, build personal brand. I'm big on Instagram, you know, Twitter, Facebook, you know, we all run the Facebook group. It's because I'm trying to create my own opportunities every single day. And the more people know about me in any capacity, the more opportunities for anything I've got. Doesn't have to be acting related. Maybe somebody's like, right, actually, Ross, you know what? I know you're good with websites. How about, you know, you help me create a website, and in exchange, you'll get something that's nothing acting related, but actually it's just a nice thing in your life. All right, I'm just going to try and create opportunities for myself. Like I say, I'm going to get massive on personal brand building, guys. And there's going to be some things that I'm testing out and you're going to see from me over the next 6 months that I think is going to work quite well. And then I'm going to share with you guys so you can emulate and reverse engineer what I'm doing. But there's some hugely exciting opportunities online right now when it comes to personal brand building and ultimately creating your own stuff without asking for permission from anybody. And it's so liberating. You don't need ITV to give you a job. You don't need the BBC to give you a job. It's almost penning you in and holding you back a little bit if they did. You could be so much freer creatively and also get potentially more reach with your material by creating your own stuff and building your own personal brand. And like I say, 2017, without a doubt, for me, has become the year of the personal brand. And it's something I've only just embarked on right now and will be developing over the next 6 months. But you'll see quite a lot of new stuff from me and a lot of new content online. And I'm pretty certain it's going to work because I've reverse engineered it from other people who it's worked for, and I've had success with this over the last 6 months. And I want you guys to do the same once you've seen me do it. But yeah, you know, you create your own opportunities. And for those people who are like, I'm too old, I came to the industry too late, I do a load of work with this in the Bulletproof Actor program that I do because it's a big excuse a lot of people have. It's a massive limiting belief. But I say that every part of your life affects every part of your life, and all the experience you've had in your life that has brought you to the age you are at is an absolute asset for your acting career. You will have experienced emotions at 65 that a 35-year-old could never contemplate, could never even imagine, you know. I lost my dad when I was 24. If you'd have asked me at 23 to play a scene where I'm told my dad had died, I wouldn't be able to do it. Would not be able to do it. Not authentically anyway, okay? And I'm not saying that's a great thing. Oh, look, you know, I've lost a loved one. But that life experience has taught me so much emotionally. So my emotional intelligence has grown exponentially as I have grown older. So at 34, I'm a far more accomplished actor than I was at 24. And I'm sure at 44, I'm going to be a far more accomplished actor than I am today at 34. Life experience spot on, Ross, says Patrick. So true, guys. Seriously, just have a look. There'll be people on here who have been through divorces, who have been through really messy relationships and breakups. There'll be people who have fallen in love once, twice, 3 times, 10 times. You know, there'll be people who have lost loved ones. There'll be people who have had life-changing, you know, like scenarios in their life, accidents, people who have been to war. You know, I know Ruben, when he joins the Scopes, has, you know, he's in the military in the States. All this stuff, you know, people will have gone out, you know, if they do serve in the military, seen things that we could never even imagine in Iraq and Afghanistan, some good, some bad. Plenty of divorces, says Trisha. But you know what, guys? Life, please, if you take anything away from this tonight, life happens for you, right? Not to you, okay? It's all happened for you. Please stop playing the victim of all this shit. Start owning it. Start owning it and going, this happened. You know what? If I label everything as a gift, how does that change the way I look at it? How does it change the way that I experience that thing that happened to me? I take complete ownership of it and I go, no, it happened for me. Look what I got out of it. Because the alternative is unthinkable. You're ultimately going to be the victim for the rest of your life, and you need to be the victor of everything that has happened to you. And you are where you are because of every decision you have made, all right? Good or bad. Take responsibility, take accountability for it, own that shit, and it will never, ever own you. So yeah, embrace getting older. It's an absolute gift. Please, like I said before, people will go to sleep tonight. That risk that we spoke about, they won't wake up tomorrow. That's the reality for around about 143,000 people every single day across the world. 143,000 people didn't make it through today, guys. As simple as that. They didn't make it today. In the UK, we had a funeral for a police officer who was stabbed to death by a terrorist in London just a week ago. All right? He would give anything to be back here with his family. He's not going to be the one complaining about having no opportunity, okay? So yeah, Caroline says, what? Yeah, no, honestly, 143,000 people a day don't get through the day. So if you do get through today, you're winning, guys. You're fucking winning because you're here. Simple as that. Okay, but yeah, just remember, you know, if you go to bed tonight and you're a bit pissed off, wake up tomorrow and kiss the world because you're alive and you're here. All right, you've got so much opportunity. Slide number 5. This is like, I hear this like probably, again, these are all common. I keep saying these are the most common, but this is so common. I'm afraid of what others will say. Literally. It's just, this is the worst. This is the worst. This one's really, I've put effing deep in the acting industry. I have felt this myself, guys, particularly in the early days of Act on This, because I thought people would judge me for creating a website that tried to empower other actors. This is serious. So an agent once said to me, who will go completely unnamed, not my agent, said, you do know by doing this that some people will actually, in this industry, agents and casting directors will think that you are empowering the wrong type of people. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. So you're saying actually trying to positively impact people's lives and to make them take action on their dreams and what they want to do. I'm actually empowering the wrong people, because they were like, yeah, well, there's people who shouldn't go for an acting career because they're never going to make it, and you're going to be empowering them. You're going to be making them think they can do it and they can't do it. And I'm just like, who's anybody to say that nobody can do this? Like I said before, there's certain attributes of somebody that when they display them, I'm like, listen, you should walk away from this for now. But I would never say that someone is completely incapable of change or learning. And it might take somebody a year to get really, really good at acting because they've just got it. It might take someone 20 years. And there's going to be certain levels that we can all work at. Some people the reality is, will not be the Hollywood leading man. You're not going to get a $5 million movie deal. You're just not, okay? But it doesn't mean that you can't be the guy who gets the 3 lines in the soap that he's dreamed of being in since he was 5 or something like that. That's what is success for one person, is very different for the next. So I feel that empowering anybody to get any further in their life and their career and their success is surely the best time someone can spend. So I felt this really early on. I don't feel it now because, luckily now I'm very, very grateful. I've had BAFTA winners, Emmy-nominated casting directors, huge names on the website, and Acts on This has got a really nice, kudos and respect for it now. But 6 years ago when I first started it off, people were going, don't do it. People will think you're conning them. People think you're bullshitting people, you're empowering the wrong people. And I was worried about what other people would say about me. Would it affect my own acting career? Got to the point where you went, I don't give a shit, because I know my action here is me being authentic to myself, and I've said that there. Do not hold back on being your authentic self because there's some hypothesized or even real criticism. Most of this criticism people fear will never actually happen. It's what we call in positive psychology fortune telling or mind reading, where you tell, you hypothesize what someone is going to think of you based on your own insecurities. So they actually never come true. It's all just in your head. But even if that criticism is real and you're getting criticism from people, as long as you are being authentic and your intent, I've put on the slide there for those that are on the audio experience, I've said as long as your intent is pure, then you go for it full force. Don't let anybody tell you what you are doing is wrong, because it's more of a reflection on them than it is a reflection on you. So never be afraid of what others will say. As long as you know you are being a force for good and you are you are being authentic to yourself and true to yourself. You're not trying to dress up as something that you want other people to think you are, but you're not actually that thing, which is something that I see everybody do on social media. A lot of people do on social media. Behind the scenes, they're falling apart, yet they feel on Instagram they've just got to put out this life that they wish they were leading. And that's not being authentic at all. And that's, I feel bad for people who have to do that. I genuinely just try and put out what's going on in my life for real on social media. I think it's nice sometimes when you share something that might have gone wrong, not horrifically and self-indulgently going, oh my God, I hate my life, but actually just sharing sometimes in a funny way, going, oh my God, guys, I just tried this and this has gone completely wrong. The Instagram cupcake page, where they've put a batch in and they've completely utterly burnt, fallen apart and just are destroyed. I think that's just as valid as putting on the ones that came out beautifully and go, just testing a new recipe today, guys, this definitely doesn't work. It's nice. I think people like imperfection. One reason why I stopped and I never even started, I don't edit any of the Acts on This TV video interviews, is because imperfection, I think, is nice for you guys to see that actually, you know what, sometimes stuff does go wrong. Sometimes, people do walk into shot. Sometimes when I'm interviewing people on the 7th for Acts on This, the chef walks out from the kitchen singing right into the middle of the interview. We're like, right, there's a load of banging going on there. I'm not going to try and hide all that because it's real. It's a live environment, and that's what happens. And I'm going to show you at the end of this a clip from Rob James Collier's Acts on This TV interview, where some people will have seen it already, where he really plays up. And I knew, because he's a friend of mine, he was going to do that. But I don't edit it all and go, no, let's pretend that didn't happen and we're both dead serious. People like imperfection. That's why, again, if you're building personal brand, guys, pull out your phone and just use your phone. And, have all the bumps and the shaky camera and all that kind of stuff, because people relate to it a lot more than if you've got a crew around you because they think it was fake. People can relate to the raw realness of others so much more, says Jen. Yeah, totally. So it's it's good sometimes to show stuff not all going perfectly. So that was excuse number 5. I'm afraid of what others will say. Okay, so to recap from 5 to 1, probably the worst is I'm afraid of what others will say. 4, there are no opportunities for me. 3, I don't know enough about the business. Well, just learn. 2, I don't have enough time. Yes, you do. You're just wasting it on bullshit. And 1, I don't want to risk it. Well, actually, stop focusing on what you think you are going to lose and start focusing on what you won't gain if you don't risk it. That's what I said before. Don't focus on how your family's going to suffer if it goes wrong. Focus on how they're going to suffer if you don't do it and it was going to go right, because you're just depriving them of all that goodness and also seeing you super fulfilled as well. And life is too short. It's not a dress rehearsal. This is it. So I don't want to risk it. Bullshit. I don't have enough time. Bullshit. I don't know enough about the business. That's bullshit. There are no opportunities for me. It's more bullshit. And I'm afraid of what others will say is probably the biggest bullshit right there. Okay. I came up with this before. I thought this is quite nice. It's actually an original quote. Indifference is where actors go to die, guys. And what I mean by that relates to the slide number 5 about being afraid of what others will say. I think it's far better to put some stuff out there, okay, that people do either love or hate, or do have an opinion of, okay? Because, and this applies to marketing, okay? So applies to marketing and branding and putting yourself out as an actor. If you have a showreel, for instance, and people are just, they're not super keen on it, they don't hate it, they're just a bit meh about it, it's pointless. I think it's better for someone to remember you for either having a fantastic reel, or initially for having, not a particularly good one, or there's something on it that annoys them, or, there's something on it that just evokes an emotional response. Because you can put a better reel out after that. If your first one wasn't good, people are going to remember you far more than for actually having the reel that's just a bit, oh, no, it's so forgettable, I have no idea. No, I can't even remember that person's name, because it's just, I'm completely indifferent to it. So be bold with your actions, try stuff out. If people hate it, that's good, because you're polarizing opinion, because if people hate it, there's going to be a lot of people who love it as well. That's the same. Donald Trump, look at him, the most polarizing man on the planet. You might hate him, but there's a shit ton of people who love him, and that's why he's president of the United States. He's also president of the United States because he was very intelligent when it came to attention and going where people's attention was via social media. Okay, he was very clever at using Twitter. Hillary, not very clever whatsoever. Didn't polarize opinion. Was just indifferent. She was boring. People remember Donald for good or for bad because he actually, evoked emotional responses from people. So strategic, says Caroline. Yes, super strategic. Please, don't be indifferent. Don't create material that's indifferent. Fanny, you put on a improvisation on the Facebook group of Tracy, a Northern Tracy girl that Fanny does, and gets good and critical responses. But that's great. It's actually evoking an emotional response from people. The people who need to worry are those who put a performance out there and no one cares either way. They need to do something that's going to evoke more emotion next time. Caroline says she thought it was great, Fanny. So that's nice. So yeah, indifference. And this applies to everything, but indifference is where actors go to die. Indifference is where businesses go to die. Indifference is where relationships go to die. You could put anything in place of the word actors there. But yeah, let's not be indifferent in anything that we do, guys. Okay. So I've got the last slide there. I said, what are you making excuses for at the moment? What excuses are you making? Have you been making excuses in this last week? What have you been making excuses about this last week? Okay, are you procrastinating? Fanny says love. Yeah, love is indifference is where love goes to die. Exactly. Anything. Are you procrastinating, or do you simply not really want it? So there's a guy I got an email off who actually had a really interesting take on procrastination this week, guys. I thought it was very, very good. He said, listen, people say they're procrastinating. He says, but in his book, there's no such thing as procrastination. Let me know if you agree with this. He said, listen, if I said you've got to work the next 3 to 5 years and you'll earn $3 million, but you've got to put in 15 hours a day, people will procrastinate over that. Even though they know the outcome is massive, they procrastinate about that because they know they've got to put in 3 to 5 years hard work. He said, but if I told you to meet me at 5 a.m. tomorrow in a particular place in your city, and I'll give you $5 million, would you be there? And he's like, yeah, you'd be there at 4:59 a.m. because the outcome, it means something to you. You really want it. So he says procrastination doesn't really exist. It actually means that you just don't want the thing you're procrastinating about. You just don't really want it. So when it's your acting career and you could get the Oscar at the end of it or whatever, you just if you are procrastinating, it's actually that thing just isn't really what you want. It's just not important enough to you. Otherwise, you would get up every day and you would do it. So it's an interesting take on it. Procrastination doesn't exist, according to him. It's the fact that your outcome is not strong enough for you. You don't want it enough. So it's interesting. So are you procrastinating, or do you simply not want it? How do you know what you really want, Ross? Says Fanny. I don't think you do, Fanny. Ultimately, I know that everybody here wants to be happy, wants to be fulfilled, and wants to feel significant, wants to feel loved, wants to feel certain, and wants variety in their life. They're things that I know we all want. So in order to go, is this something that I really want? Does it tick one of those boxes? Because if it does, you probably want it. But there's lots of things you should want. You shouldn't just want one thing, because I think that's, again, living a very limited life. But a lot of people absolutely, ultimately, we all want to be happy, we all want to be loved, and we all want to feel that we're contributing something to the world, and we're significant. We're special in some way. People like us. So if you're turning up every day and you're putting stuff out in the world in a positive way and you're making a difference, then you should be fulfilled technically, because doing stuff for other people fulfills you, fulfills them, makes you feel significant. People love you for it. It brings you certainty in your life. It also brings you variety. I don't think you can say, I'll be happy when I have that, because there'll always be something else. I'll be happy when I've got this. I'll be happy when I've got that. For me, what I really want is to wake up every single day and just enjoy my life. Seriously, whilst I can. And I don't put any finite goals on something, because I think almost if someone gave me everything that I thought I wanted tomorrow, then what have I still got left to work for? I'd find something else, but for me, it isn't something like if I had that house. I went to stay in LA December before last, and I told you guys I stayed in a incredible house. It used to belong to the wrestler Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was about $21 million on the market. And for the first day I woke up there, it was incredible. Absolutely awe-inspiring. Right at the top of the Hollywood Hills, unbelievable. I promise you, by day 10, I was accustomed to it, just used to it. It wasn't that special. And I realized it wasn't the house I was waking up in that made me excited. It was the people I was waking up to. And I could wake up to those people in a 2-bedroom terraced house somewhere in Manchester, and I'd feel exactly the same. It wasn't the material, nature of the house. It was actually the relationships that were important to me. And it was a big wake up for me, that, because I thought, you know what, if I really made it, if I was really, really I've made it massive in business or acting or, in life, I would have a place like this. And I thought, wow, you know what a lonely place that big house would be without the people in it that made my life special. And I promise you, on my deathbed, I'm not going to be like, oh, just give me one last ride in the Ferrari or one last look at that house. I'm going to be like, wow, bring my best friends here if they're still alive. If any of my family is still alive, bring them here. Bring my kids here. I just want to spend 2 more minutes with them. So you've just got to fall in love with the process. Really got to fall in love with the process of living your life, and just embrace every single day and go, you know what, I have no idea exactly what's going to happen today. I know that my compass is pointing me in the right direction, but whatever happens, happens. And I'm going to deal with it and remember that life happens for me, not to me. Okay, so all of this is happening for me right now. And I'm going to label everything as a gift. And I'm not going to label things as tragedies, because it doesn't serve me in any way. Fanny messaged me today to ask about the eye condition that I've got, because I put an Instagram story on where I had a dent in my nose from the glasses I was wearing for a voiceover today. And she was like, oh, I didn't know you wore glasses. And I was like, well, I've got to try and explain to you, because I've got this eye condition. I had to have cataract removal, which is where they remove the lenses inside your eye. And they replace it with a lens that doesn't move. It's like fixed focus. So my eyes are actually focused for near distance when I don't have contact lenses in. So for me to leave the house, I've got to put contact lenses in to get distance vision. But that means when I'm focused for distance, I'm not focused for near. So if I'm out with lenses in for distance, I've got to put glasses on to read. So it's a bit of a juggling act for me in terms of what I can see, and I've got to put glasses or contact lenses in depending. And I could label that as an absolute, tragedy in my life, going, oh God, look, I've got this eye condition, this has all gone to shit, my eyesight's getting worse, I'm going to lose my eyesight. Or I can just look at it for the gift that it is and go, oh my God, you know what, I've maybe got 10 or 15 years where I can see, and I'm going to try and see as much amazing things in the world as I possibly can right now. And this has happened for me to make me appreciate what vision is, because there's other senses I take for granted, my ears, walking, breathing, being able to run marathons. We all take it for granted if we're not careful. So for one thing, for me, having this condition has made me so grateful for my eyes. And being able to, my eyesight's good enough, Yes, it's not great. I need help getting about sometimes. But that's just it. There's people who, like 143,000 people who won't wake up tomorrow. I'm going to be one, hopefully, who does. So we've got to focus on what we have, guys. And I put at the bottom there, the third thing that I just want to end on is remember that this time is going to pass anyway. Okay, and don't take it for granted that you are going to wake up tomorrow, but this time is going to pass. So the next 5 years, hopefully, if you're healthy, is going to pass anyway. So you can either spend that 5 years making stuff happen in your life ultimately, and living your life the way you want to live it, or you can spend the next 5 years making excuses. And the whole thing about tonight, obviously, is not making excuses. So to end on one more quote from a guy called Jim Rohn. Just Google Jim Rohn. He's not with us anymore, but bless him, he's an awesome guy. Was a great motivational speaker, thought leader, author, just fantastic. And he said, listen, if you really want to do something, you will find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. And I think that's really powerful. Every time I said to my voiceover agent a few years back, and she was like, wow, say that again. So if you really want to do something, you will find a way. If you don't, you will find an excuse. What are you saying, Jen? What was that website again? Which website? Google. Google.com. If you want to find out how to do anything, seriously, guys, just Google it. That's what it's there for. But yeah, so let's not make any more excuses, guys. If you've been worried about something and you're like, oh, really, I should phone that person, I should ask that question, I should get in touch with that company, just do it. Just do it. Because you actually have nothing to lose. Just focus on what you lose out on by not doing that thing. And for those who are here for the first time, if you've not been, or you're watching the replay and you've not been on any of these scopes before, join me next time on Periscope. I scope on Mondays at 9 p.m. for this motivation and mind hack session that we've done tonight. And on Wednesdays, we do a book club. So follow me on Periscope. Follow me on Instagram as well and Twitter at ActOnThisTV. Please let me know what you think of what we've spoken about tonight. The book club, we're looking at a book called The Motivation Manifesto by Brendan Burchard. Awesome book. Really, really great book. I've got it on bookshelf here. If you want to get it, Simon, big shout out to you because I know you bought this earlier this week. You tweeted me. It looks like a Bible, but it's not. It's nothing to do with religion at all. Brendan Burchard, The Motivation Manifesto. It's 9 declarations to claim your personal power. Sounds a bit woo-woo and a bit out there, but it's not. It's super, super... There's just loads of clarity in this book in terms of, again, focusing on the things you should be focusing on. We looked at fear on Monday. Fear stops people doing so much in their life. Fear can make people ill. Fear can put people in the hospital. And fear is completely self-manufactured, ultimately. It's something that stops people from really committing to their life. So we looked at that on Monday and how you can get through that. I'm going to put the replay of that up on actonthis.tv tomorrow, along with the replay for this Periscope, and I'm also going to put both of them on iTunes. So search for Acts on This TV on iTunes, and you'll see both as well. And so, any closing comments, guys, before I play you this clip from Rob James Collier's upcoming Acts on This TV interview? Let me know how you've, how you found tonight. If you've been making excuses in your life, if you relate to the excuse that I made myself this morning. This microphone's doing me head in. Yeah, let me know if you've fallen foul of Excuseville, if you've been living in Excuseville for a little while now, and what you're not going to be making excuses for. I'm one big excuse I now feel, says Fanny. You're not Fanny. You're one massive self-criticizer, and you need to start. All you need to do, Fanny, is just become your biggest fan. That's what I said to the voiceover engineer I was working with today. I was like, 2 things in life. 1, become your biggest fan. If you're not your biggest fan, then no one else is going to be. No one else is going to be a fan of yours if you're not your biggest fan. And the other thing is to look after yourself above and beyond anything else, because people are like, oh, I've got to put other people first. No, Doesn't mean you've got to be, you know, completely selfish in terms of like never doing anything for anybody, but look after yourself first. Fulfill yourself. Make sure you are all right, because when you are all right, you can serve other people. There's no way I'd be able to come on these scopes twice a week and give if I wasn't actually being fulfilled somewhere else. If I wasn't looking after myself, I would have nothing left to give other people. So look after yourselves. It's a bit like being on an aeroplane, and they always say, you know, put your oxygen mask on before you help somebody else. That's like a great metaphor for life. So make sure you put your oxygen mask on this week. And then you're going to be of service to other people. So anything else, let me know. If not, cheers, Sam. I'm going to be back on Wednesday night, 9 p.m. for the book club. Massively appreciate you watching the replay. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching Acts on this.tv and you've not got a membership for the site yet, get one. Like I say, £2.50 a week gets you access to some incredible content. If you're listening on the audio experience, appreciate you. And if you're here live, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I know Broadchurch was on tonight at 9 p.m. in the UK. So we've had a good lot of people on here tonight. So thank you very much. Girly Whirly, thank you. Carolina, thank you. So I'm going to cheers, James. I'm going to plan to release this interview, the full interview with Rob, on the 24th, I think it is, of April. Whatever the Friday is. I think it's the 24th. It goes out to all premium members on Acts on This. Free members will be able to watch like a 10-minute trailer of it. The whole interview is an hour and 15 minutes. Rob gives away some awesome knowledge about his entire journey from, you know, ultimately being an untrained actor out of work to starring in Downton Abbey for 16 years as one of the most iconic characters in it, and the work that he's done since on ITV's The Level. He's now writing comedy. You're going to be seeing a lot more of him, and hopefully you're going to be seeing me in that as well. He's promised me a little part in that. We'll see. Fingers crossed. But yeah, do you know, if you are not a member of Acts on This, do go get a membership, guys. Like I say, £10 a month, man, you get access to so much, and you're going to see the full interview from Rob on the 24th. Tony, I missed your comment, dude. Just write that one more time, and then I'm going to play you this, and we'll call it a night. Although for you, it's only the afternoon in Chicago, Tony, innit, I guess. Hope your day is going well over in Chi-Town, as I think they call it. I'm not very down with it. I think people call it Chi-Town, Chicago. Don't know. Just not too hip-hop, really. I'm looking to risk more without worrying or opinions of others, says Tony. Oh, and David's there as well. David's in Chi-Town. David, didn't know you were in Chicago as well. Excellent, man. We do call it Chi-Town. Yes. You guys should come over to Manchester at some point. Get yourself over to the UK. We've got some good weather at the moment for once. Might last about 3 days. Normally summer over here is like 3 days to a week. So get yourself over now, really, if you want to experience any sun. So here is... David's in LA, but he's from Chicago. Awesome. Here is Rob James Collier's little 1 minute snippet. This is him playing up, all right? I just thought this was funny to put out as a little teaser, but I promise you, he actually drops a load of knowledge bombs in this. Some really, really interesting stuff. The guy's never changed since the guy I met 15 years ago out of work to the guy he is today, having starred in one of the biggest shows in the world. So yeah, enjoy this. And Tony said he met an actor from the UK the other day, told him about Acts on This. Please keep spreading the word, guys. All right, until Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Bye for now.
Always been good at fielding either offers
I thought you were going to say feeling then. Like, whoa, what's going on here? Sorry, relax now. This is me now. This is relaxed. I don't like big intros.
We're getting the real
stuff like
Robbie.
that. Yeah.
Well, you took, because I was like in your flat a lot, and I
Well,
heard
that
you.
sounds wrong. Let me just explain, people. He voluntarily came to my flat. He wasn't held there against his own will. And just in case they edit it, he voluntarily came to my flat. He wasn't held against his own will. Sorry. Yes.
Is he prayed away from the mic now? Yeah.
I've jumped the lens, mate. We're revolutionising this.
I knew it was going to be like this. I knew this was going to happen.
You can go with the two-shot on that one.
We
Don't panic. We've got the two-shot covered.
Right, it's fine.
That's a two-shot, right, is it? Yeah, we're fine.
So you turned down. This is ridiculous.
Don't you point your finger at me.
This is literally ridiculous.
Right, relax. I have to do that to relax.
You're in it now. So you turned
It's
down.
like being in the Crucible World Snooker final. It's tension. It's quiet. Sorry, go on.